The truth ain't nothing but a lie. Art and blow coming through with the truth. Keep it 100, that's the only rule. Every week, bring something you ain't know. Hot topics, that's the name of the show. Hit us with a like, follow, share, and a cash app coming to you, player. Chicken little really fell from the sky. And half the truth ain't nothing but a lie. It's time to tell. The truth is time to tell. The truth is time to tell.
Guess who's back? It's your boy Art, my sidekick Blow. We have a special guest on tonight, Shakia. I'll give you a little bit of backdrop on Shakia. She is a relationship coach. And tonight we're going to be talking about relationships and family. We're about to get this thing popping. Y'all know what to do.
You already know it's time to tell the truth. Give us a call, 704-449-6563. Again, 704-449-6563. We're on YouTube as well. Time to Tell the Truth podcast, all one word. You already know, like, share, call in. We'll send you a cash out. Tonight's episode is called Relationships and Family. It's time to tell the truth.
That's right. We're about to get it going. Subscribe to the show. Y'all know what to do about throwing your cash apps up. Okay, tonight we're about to get this thing popping. We done had a show about forgiveness, but we're trying to get back into forgiveness, family, and relationships, basically, because all that stuff is intertwined. So we was having a conversation this week, and we was talking about how you get family out of your relationships. Why do they cause a disturbance? What can you do about it? Do you truly forgive them when you say you forgive them? And all of that.
Yep.
Okay, so we're about to get into this. We're going to pose a question to Shakia. She's authored a book, the same book that we told y'all about in the last show. It's called The Bridge, Grace Beyond Abandonment. It's a good book. We're going to be giving this away. She signed it already, so we want y'all, one of you lucky guests tonight is going to get this book. It's already signed by the author. Okay, we're about to get it going. Okay, Shakia, we want to start talking about, and this is an early edition for us tonight for all y'all that might come in late and stuff like that. Just rewatch it and you catch the beginning of it. But Shakia, we wanted to talk a little bit tonight about what it looks like to actually forgive somebody, and do you ever forget it, and or should you forget it?
Yeah. So what does forgiveness look like?
Forgiveness to me looks like peace. It's peace. It's peace when you actually can come around that person who has caused you any type of hurt, harm, and danger and not feel anything. You know what I mean? So when I talked about forgiveness, I talked about forgiveness from the perspective of God's grace. It's God's grace that allowed me to forgive in my situation. You know what I mean? So to me, like I said, forgiveness is peace. It's
Right.
peace that comes upon you, that you're no longer bound or affected by what had caused you the pain or the trauma you dealt with.
Yeah, but we're trying to figure out how to deal with it. Blow said he had a situation. Hey, honey, we see you. Blow said he had a situation where he's trying to navigate through this forgiveness thing. You want to talk about that, Blow?
Yes. So I had a situation where I looked out for somebody and they avoided paying me back per se, and now they're in a situation where they need somebody. And I know in my heart of hearts that is still my friend. I still see him as a friend. We once lived in the same walk of life, which we don't no more. Right. So it's not for me to judge that situation because I've been in the situation too. But my thing is as adults and as men, we know right from wrong. And if I look out for you on the terms of you repaying me or looking back out for me, then I would expect you to do so as a man. So now that they're in a compromised situation or position and they're reaching out to me for help, I feel like I forgive them to the point to where I want to show grace and look out for them because they're in need. If you don't got nobody else but me, in my heart of hearts, whether I'm mad at you or not, I'm going to still look out and be there for you because I know that it's the right thing to do.
That's
people always do and all this type of stuff. I think that's what Jesus would do.
That's the grace.
It's the grace. Exactly. Right. But now that I've done it, it's like it's a repeated cycle of thinking I'm gonna do it and do it and do it and do it. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute now. We wasn't all the way on the greatest terms when it comes to the situation. But so I feel moving forward, I'm not gonna say I won't do it again, but to even expect that from me over and over kind of make me, see them in a certain kind of way. If I cross you in a way, or and then I come back and you still look out for me, I got to be like, okay, I'm thankful that he did that for me. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. Where I feel like I forgive them, I still looked out for them, but I don't want to continue to do it.
And you
Yeah.
don't have to. You don't have to continue, but forgiveness don't nowhere says be a doormat.
Right. Right.
It doesn't say be a doormat. Forgiveness is actually for you. It's not for that other person who hurt you. Forgiveness is for you. It's for you to be able to move forward without carrying the pain and burdens of somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's for you to find that inner peace, you to be able to move forward in peace. You know what I mean? And not carry that. Now, I was speaking, I have a coach myself. I am a certified life coach, but my coach actually corrected me the other day, and because I was one to say, well, forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. But if we go to the word, what she pointed out to me, God actually says reconcile with your brothers and
Right.
sisters. You
Yeah,
know what I
absolutely.
mean? So
Absolutely.
she corrected me on that, and so I stand corrected today. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
that means, and I look at it like this: you grace, it took grace for you to forgive to help your friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What if you were standing before the Father and he needed you and you needed him to extend that same thing to you? But he
Yeah.
was too busy saying, I think about it. Oh, let me see. Well, last time you did that, and so you look at it like that. I look at it just like that. God, if God extended grace for me in the life I used to live and the things I used to do, oh
Yeah.
baby, I'm throwing out forgiveness cards everywhere. I
Yeah.
forgive, I forgive, I forgive.
So this is a good statement from the viewer. It says, it's the right thing to do, but what about you and your feelings? Has that been addressed? And yes, I did address that. I let them know, what the situation was. Oh, man, that is right. Like, but you ain't forget. I ain't never in my
Right,
life owed nobody and don't remember.
Yeah.
You know what I
right.
mean? So, but I tell them, what I age and, we ain't getting no younger. The decisions, the bad decisions, got to start,
Yeah.
I can't outweigh the good decisions at this point in life.
But
Okay.
that's why it's important to set boundaries too. When you forgive somebody, you still have to set your boundaries and you have to keep your boundaries in play. You know what I mean? And like she said, like like said, you addressed your feelings to that person. Hey, you remember, I gave you this and you said this, but you didn't do this.
Mhm.
For we was taught at a young age, for every action there's a reaction, and there's
Mhm.
always
Right.
consequences behind things.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, we was talking a little bit offline, and you mentioned something about addressing yourself, or addressing or fixing you first. I mean, what about that? Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yes, oftentimes we quick to
Well,
point our fingers at who called, who caused the problem or what caused the issue or how it was, and we never take accountability for ourselves. You know what I mean? We have to be the ones to take accountabilities for ourselves to heal ourselves first.
Right.
Forgiveness gonna start with you. It starts with you. You have to forgive. You think about all the stuff you done and all the things you went through, and then, we got to stop playing the victim and start looking in the mirror and identifying what the root cause is. Half of the time we are the root cause of it. you
Okay.
know
Well, yeah. Well, let's talk about a little few of these situations. I had a friend come to me and tell me the other day that he was gone for a while, and he got back home, and his wife and her brother had a real tight relationship, right? They're the only siblings. They grew up having a real tight relationship. And, you know, her brother used to come by and give her some money, you know, and he's looking at this like, whoa, wait a minute. What are you doing getting money from your brother? Blah, blah, blah. Am I not enough? Ain't I bringing in enough? And he told me that his wife just, you know, sit down and explain to him that no, it's not like that. We just been doing this as brothers and sisters, you know, our whole lives basically. And you know, they had gotten married, you know, while he was apart, and had never really been around the brother-sister relationship like that. So he said that he had to learn to deal with that sibling connection, basically. Now, you know, to me, that don't make it right or whatever, but he had felt disrespected in that moment until she sat down and explained it to him. Can you elaborate a little
Well,
bit about
I would
that?
say this. Understanding is the greatest teacher. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that she sat down and explained to him was understood, but people fail to realize when you take on a spouse and you become married, that's a whole nother level. You understand? So some of the things I understand the sibling relationship, the brothers, but now you got a you are one with someone else. It's no longer you by yourself. It's you and your spouse. And you and that person took a covenant before the Lord. That's why you got a ring. You wear a ring. That ring symbolizes unity between you, your spouse, and the Father. You know what I mean? So a lot of things that you used to do as a single individual, you can't do no more. Because now you have a covenant with a person who you chose to be your spouse. You know what I mean? So I understand, yeah, he was, you know, giving money, whatever, but at some point, the maturity has to step in, the communication has to be understood, and the boundaries have to be set.
Yes, and I think, and I see why he would be upset about that because
Right.
as a man,
Yeah, you get in your body about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get in your body about that.
That definitely gets
And you know, but unless you understand that relationship, though. Because if
I
you,
mean,
if we, let me ask you this: Have you ever just?
I don't even think in because we're talking about finances, and when you come to finances, that is like a part of. To me, that's like care. Now, the
Yes.
relationship in the bond of the relationship, that's one thing, but the actual I'm taking care of you,
Right.
and
Right.
that you know, and that makes me feel like I'm not taken care of because somebody said something to me. Somebody said that you can look at a situation, right, and see it a certain way, but what if you was in the situation?
Right. Exactly.
Because what if she was in the situation and she come home and she doing everything she cooking and his sister bringing them dinner every night.
Dinner.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's the type of thing too. So
Right.
I can understand where she coming from. But like she said, when it comes to husband and wife, you know,
It's a different level.
should nothing come in between.
Well, it
that.
can't.
Nothing.
It can't.
Nothing.
Well, as we have discussed this before, and Blow, we talked about it. Who gets the biggest piece of chicken? I mean, who gets their plate fixed first? we had a show maybe last year or the year before. We had a show on that we talked about, you know, who gets their plate fixed first? Is it the kids? Is it the husband? You know, is it the significant other? And who gets the biggest piece of chicken? You know, I mean, you know, all like that. And we heard all kinds of responses on that.
Well, when that episode came out, I learned a lot and I saw the signs of the times. See, we come from different eras. Like your era was more of an era where the dad really had respect on a family level, on a government level, on a spiritual level. Now it's different in the sense of they incentivize the man not being in the house. Every woman don't really see that the man should eat before. Ain't no man eating before my kids.
And we heard that.
But another thing that I saw is that I respect about your generation more so is it set the respect for the house.
Exactly.
Because if the granddaddy eat first, then everybody know grandma respects granddaddy.
Right.
And if anybody disrespect grandma, they gonna have to deal with granddaddy.
Right.
And that's where the disconnect comes with giving the chicken to the kids first. Because we see that a lot of times that the woman don't have no respect for the man, but the child running around here and ain't listening to nobody, vaping, toting pistols, everything.
Right.
But the daddy can't even get a word in on the mama, and the mama ain't even getting no kind of respect from the kids.
Right.
Agreed.
And I always say this.
What's going on?
My mom used to tell me, wait till your daddy get home. And when those words came out of her mouth, I started putting on extra clothes. Because I know if mom ever tell dad, it's going to be a problem. So it started at the head. See, the respect got to start at the head.
Right.
And if you respect dad and mom respects dad, the kids going to respect mom and dad. Because all mom would have to do is say, wait till your daddy get home. You know, and when mom say that, you're going to start getting right for mom. You know what I'm saying? You're going to do everything because you already know she going to tell dad. And boy, what's coming ain't going to be good.
My thing is when it comes to when you want to feed my thing is, you know who you dealing with. You know good and well you ain't dealing with a man. If it wasn't enough chicken for the man to eat, he wouldn't.
Right.
So I don't see no problem with the man getting a piece of chicken first.
Right.
Because it's like I say, it just sets the boundaries. But my thing is, if the child doing what they're supposed to do, respecting their mama, respecting me and everything, I don't mind them eating first. But it does set the boundaries of mama respect daddy.
Right.
And if I don't respect mama, I got to deal with daddy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think setting tone is important. You know, I grew up with my grandfather, my grandmother would cook dinner. She fixed my grandfather's plate, then she fixed my plate, her plate, then she fixed my plate. You know what I mean? So I grew up seeing that. And it taught me what type of person, what type of man I needed to have in my life. You know what I mean? So, and it also set the tone as to how, but I also saw my grandfather respect my grandmother too. You know what I'm saying? It came both ways. It wasn't, you fix my food, I'm going to eat, no. He respect my grandmother and he made sure every one of us in that house respected her too. So as for me in my house, I'm married. Me and my husband been together 27 years. I fix when I cook dinner, I fix my husband plate. My husband is a king. I treat him as a king. You know why? Because he in turns treat me the same way.
Right.
There's nothing in this world this man wouldn't do for me. There's nothing, but at the same time, we teaching our son how to, in turn, he teaching him how to treat a woman. I'm teaching him how the woman is supposed to treat him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So he's learning the order, but not only that, he's learning the foundation of how God said it for it to be. God said it's him, then the man, then the woman, then the children.
Yeah,
that's the reason for that.
That's the word.
Was a reason for that.
It was a reason.
Right, absolutely. And that reason being, let me explain to y'all out there what that reason is. That reason is this. The reason is we got all these kids out here shooting up one another right now. That's because of no order in the house. That's because of no respect from the house. They was never taught to respect anybody. If the police stop them, they have no respect for the police. They talk junk, do everything. That's authority. So you learn that early. And you're supposed to set the stage for the kid when they're very small. Y'all know why they used to give kids allowances and stuff like that? Not for really doing a good job, but showing them how to earn, save money. This stuff goes all the way up into what they're doing. Nowadays, kids don't even know how to change a tire. They know nothing about that because they wasn't taught that. I mean, you have to teach them. That's why you tell them to clean up their room. Why you tell your little girls make sure their rooms is really cleaned up? Because when they get husbands one day, they're going to know how to clean house. That's the reason. It's not just the reason of cleaning up the room right now for the purpose of cleaning up. It's a bigger purpose in play there. You learn how to do that and keep your room clean and start cleaning up the house. So when you get married, get a husband, you know how to clean house, you know how to keep stuff clean because that's what you do. You ought to be taught that.
I'm a boy mom. So I have boys, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's
as a
right.
boy mom, I raise my sons. My sons know how to cook, clean, fend for themselves because I wanted them to understand the fact that they didn't need a woman. They choose to have a woman. And when they get that woman, they respect her to the fullest of understanding this ain't the 50s. She not supposed to be in that house barefoot and pregnant, cooking and cleaning for you. No. You
Well,
can
let's go
do
back.
you do the same thing. You can clean for her. If she out working just like you working, y'all can alternate. You cook, she cook, you clean, she clean. Y'all, yeah, it's a unity thing, especially if you has chosen this woman to be your wife.
Let me go back, and I respectfully disagree with one part of that, and this is the part. Telling them they don't need a woman. I beg to differ if you go back to the Bible. It's not good that man should be alone. Period.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not. No,
that's why
what let me
women
correct
was
that. Let me
made.
correct
Oh,
that.
okay.
When I
Yeah,
say not need one, meaning that you know how you have a lot of young men that's laying up on couch playing video games and like that.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So
Oh,
in
well,
other
yeah.
words, they know that they're just as much valuable as that woman is too. That's
Right.
that's my
Absolutely.
perspective of my boys understanding they're enough. They are just as important and as valuable as that woman is too. You know, that's the importance of God created us uniquely different for a reason so that we can
Right.
interact and have
Exactly.
relationships with people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so the important thing is that getting back to the household communication, knowing how to communicate with each other, knowing how to talk to each other instead of burying things, having putting don't say nothing, get mad, leave. No, you got to learn how to communicate and talk, and you got to know how to take accountability. The biggest problem with our people is we do not know how to take accountability.
That is true. I
We
I
are
agree with
quick
that.
to judge, and we cannot take accountability for things.
Well,
And we
I said
need to
that
learn
because
how to take accountability.
yeah, the husband. You know what? I said that because you have most women out here today. The first thing they would say is they don't need a man, and I really disagree with that because that's the very thing that you do need. Because you have without the man, really, you have no leadership. I mean, you come under God, but you have not have that intermediate right there. I mean,
Well,
because
I
the
think
man
the
is
most
supposed.
important thing a woman do need is the Lord. And
Well, that's
therefore,
the most important thing.
when she have the guidance from the Lord is gonna send her man, her mate.
Well, absolutely, but he's gonna send her to her, but she needs that in place, especially if you start talking about children and running a household. And for the most part, women have been taught these days that you don't need a man. The government was their man. They married the
Mm.
government. They married the government because now no man don't have to provide. The man don't have to do nothing because the government is going to do everything that the man was supposed to do, or to a certain degree. And that's why he's going to get a house. Now, if a woman had to do all of that by herself, it would be hard. Yes, she can get it done. Yes, with kids, yes, but she's going to be pressuring for child support. It's not just going to be all the government if she got kids, and the government is only going to help her if she got kids. And if she got kids, he's going to be pressuring some man somewhere to give up some child support. That's just the way it is. And so yeah, you kind of need each other. Men need women, and women need men. That's why we're here. We were designed to procreate. God said, "Be fruitful and multiply." That was the command. Yet you still have people out here marching for abortions. So you even have Christians marching for abortions. Well, let that sink in. You know what I'm saying? And when you're supposed to be multiplied and being fruitful,
Mhm.
it's big. It's hard. Now I see something back and forth here. The husband gets it first, and I don't think the husband gets the first play because if he loves his family. It's all about respect. I think it's just about respect. The husband don't get the first play uh, just because he get it out of respect. That sets the tone for the kids. They understand that it's an order, and without order in any family, it's going to be a disarray in there.
Yeah, I think we can't take it
But
for
who set the tone?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, just like it said right here, you know, The dad,
the man sets the tone.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he set the table.
There would be no food. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, and that goes back to different eras. Some women don't believe in that. Some women, they don't need a man to bring food to their table.
Right.
And I don't think that's right either, but that's just the
Well,
sign of the time.
I disagree with that because somewhere, a man is going to be the one that send that food. If you get hired by a man, you know what I'm saying, to work.
I mean, I understand that. I mean,
you know, somewhere he's going to be involved.
I mean, but in some women's world, they go to work every day. They have their own. They don't need nobody. They bring their own everything.
Right.
So
That's
you know,
that's true. That is true.
but
That's
how
true.
do you bring that woman into an understanding of when she do decide to be with somebody that she has to fall into the place of what
Yeah.
a woman is supposed to be?
Oh, yeah.
But why is it that she's not necessarily having to fall? That's what it comes the word compromise. She's, you know what I mean, it's understanding, you know, she said, like I said, the tone is being set by that man. You know, that man is not trying to change her, he's enhancing her. So whether she's making six figures or or minimum wage, that man sets the tone.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
Fruitful
When it
response.
comes down to relationships and husband and wives, even significant others and their other people, who gets the final say so? Now, it's going to have to come down at some point to a disagreement. That's what I'm saying. It's going to come down to a final, you know, somebody's going to have to make a decision. Who gets that last word?
Me personally, I would say that, you know, prayer. You're gonna have to pray, you know, because, you know, I would say prayer. I would say that, you know, it's gonna require you to that's why I said the foundation is so important, because when you have a strong foundation, and even if you in a disagreement, you know, and you go breathe, she go breathe, y'all pray, and then you come back together, and God is gonna give you that answer. You know what I mean? So it's to me, it's no who got the final word, who got the last word, because see, that becomes like you competing. And marriage is not about competing. It's not
Well,
being in
somebody got to have the
competition.
last word, though. I think somebody
Well,
gonna
you
have to
might
have the
just have
last
to
word
agree
on
to
that.
disagree.
Yeah, but say for instance, we want to go to the beach, say in July. The man's dead set on going in July, and the woman don't want to go in July.
Well,
Somebody's
have
got to
you
have the
planned the
last word.
trip? Did you
Yeah,
plan
I
it?
mean, that's just in the plan. That's just in the plan. That's the plan being made.
No, my question to you is, have you took the time, like, have you planned this trip, like July the 16th through the 18th, we're going to the beach. I booked the room. I did this. I did that. Have you, as the man,
No,
done
it's
that?
just a discussion, just in a discussion. Somebody's got to have that last word in the discussion. It's just, you know, in a discussion. What if the man say, let's go to the beach in July? And, you know, the woman say, no, I don't want to go in July. I want to go in August. Okay. And both of you got your reasons. Both of you got, you know, you lay out everything. When do you go?
Well, that's where the compromise will come in. Y'all gonna have to compromise. When you want to go in August, I want to go in July. We got to learn how to meet in the middle. Where's the middle? And that's a part of compromise. You got to compromise. It
Okay,
can't
everybody.
be just because if you just want to go in July and she just want to go in August, that's just selfish. Y'all not trying to come into an agreement. That's being selfish. You wanted your way, she wanted her way. But
Yeah.
how are we? So, like I said, it takes prayer. Prayer is powerful. So, you got to learn how to do that together as one, to learn how to come in the middle and agree.
Okay. Okay. Everybody, tonight's topic, for all y'all that's enjoying in late, tonight's topic is family and relationships, or relationships and family, and how they get in. We got a special guest on tonight. That's Shakia Hicks. She wrote this book. It's called The Bridge, Grace Beyond Abandonment. We're going to be giving this book away. It's signed by the author inside already herself. And we felt like we ought to talk about relationships and, you know, how family fits in and things like that. Because understanding relationships and understanding each other through relationships and in-laws and all the rest, I see it being a problem throughout everywhere right now. And so this is Shakia Hicks. And so y'all can ask your questions and stuff like that. And that's what we're doing tonight.
All right. So the next thing we was going to talk about, we was going to get into the in-laws. We was going to talk about in-laws and what role do in-laws play in a relationship. Well, we kind of talked about it a little bit off air. And we were saying that, you know, it's for the husband and wife to nip any in-law issues in the butt, per se.
Right.
I think so. I mean, I know a situation where, you know, there's a person in my family that don't get along with their in-laws, and I think that that's something that could have been fixed. It's been drawn out for years, and it's not getting no better, but that's something I feel like could be fixed if it has to be fixed and if the people involved want it to be fixed.
Right. Right. Well, that's where this term, I know a friend of mine gave me this term, mama husband. Okay. What is a mama husband? And I had to probe that just to get that a mama husband. I had never heard that term before, but it was explained to me that a mama husband was a man that's married and his mama is using him as a husband and a mama. Okay.
Okay, so she is mama, but she wanted to treat him like a husband too.
Right. She want to treat him like a husband. Now, and they say they got a lot of those out there today. And I thought about Kevin Durant because they said he can never get a girl because his mama always in his relationship. So
what?
Yeah. So I mean, it's called a mama husband. Okay, so he's always, and I feel like we got people that do interfere in relationships, but to what degree? Should your mom ever have anything to say concerning the relationship, Flo? I mean, anything at all?
I mean, I think
to you, maybe not necessarily to your wife, to you.
Well, my family, the way my family is set up, my family kind of trusts my judgment. They don't really give too much judgment. Right. Now, if I go date somebody and I'm coming around and I'm this person that, this person this, this person that, this person this, they gonna feel that way. But if I'm not projecting that to them, that's not for them to feel that way. Because they trust my judgment.
Right.
They respect what I do and how I do it, no matter what, because they respect how I handle myself as a man.
Right.
So they go. So I don't have that issue when it comes to my family.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like I said, when negative stuff is being projected and negative stuff is put out there, you know, you can't be surprised when they don't like the person or they do act funny when the person's around and stuff like that. So
right.
Well, right, because you done put the persona out there that this person is like that because you done put all the negative. So when I remember my sister and I was talking, my best friend and my sister, she's my sister, we was having a conversation and that's something she told me. She said, you can't put me around a person and you constantly done projected them to be this way. And then when I see them, I'm looking at them like, you know, so you can't do that, you know what I'm saying? But when, again, I will always say relationships, anything, you have to set boundaries. And people don't set boundaries and people don't respect boundaries. But you have to place them boundaries. Boundaries are so important. They're so important. And even like when we was talking off of air about the situation, like I commend you as a man when you said, oh, I would have nipped that in the bud when she was my girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Let alone now she became my wife. So I respect you for that.
Right.
I mean, you got to. I mean, it's my place to do that because I don't want to be in the middle of that.
Right.
I don't want to, especially not for no years to come. I mean, when you got a situation where you're dating somebody and they don't get along with your mama and y'all just boyfriend and girlfriend. Now here we go years later, y'all married with a family, and you still got the same drama going.
Yeah,
Same
and they don't get
issue.
along with your mom. Right.
Right. Right. I know when I started dating my husband, I told him, if you don't like your mama, you can't possibly like me. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and when I
You're right.
went to meet his mother, she actually told me, she was like, you the first person he done ever brought to my house to see me. So I knew then that I had to be, I felt special. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, that
Okay.
had to mean something, you know. But boundaries, I'm going to keep saying it if I have to say it all night so people can understand. Boundaries are important.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this question. You say a boundary. Where you set that at? Is it a special place, time, whatever? Because I'm saying I know the mama's
They
boy.
need to be said at the
I was a
beginning.
mama's boy. I can tell you that right now. I was my mama's boy. I was a complete mama's boy. Now I do anything for my mom. You know, I do anything in the world for my mom. And I'm sure every other boy would, especially if they're a mama's boy. And she definitely will do the same. She'll take up for him, she'll do everything. She might not lie for him, but she ain't gonna just flat out just, destroy him in any sense. So I mean, and that's just like my family. My family will not lie for me. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, sometimes they will not lie. They might not tell you something about telling you something, but they not gonna just set up and lie. They don't do it like that. They don't. They ain't gonna lie for me. I'm telling you that right now. None of mine will lie for me. They might not say anything, or if you ask them a question, they just might play it off or whatever. But they ain't gonna just set up there and tell a lie. And I know that for a fact. But the thing about that is, it can be looked at whereas you covering up for him, this, that, no, but it don't be like that. But in your own mind, that's the way it look. My own mom, she never got along with my daddy's sisters. And I swear I never understood why. She could be cordial with them, but she never really liked them. I can't explain because she never told me what the root cause of all of that was, and I never understood it. But she could not stand my daddy's sisters for some reason. They just didn't really get along. And I know plenty of things out here, or plenty of people out here that do the same thing. They just don't get along with their in-laws for whatever reason it is. Now, maybe they felt like they got in their business or whatever, but I always feel something can always be hashed out. All you got to do is go talk to the person.
Yeah, I think that.
I agree. I agree. I think that, you know, going back to forgiveness, a lot of times we hold a lot of things from our past or issues, and we just hadn't forgave that person for them. You know what I mean? So I think it's so important that we understand why, how, and when we forgive. We say forgiveness is for you, which it is. It is for you so that you can be able to be around that person again with no bitterness. True forgiveness is you have no bitterness. You can sit around that person with no problems. Will you forget what they did? No, but you have a clear understanding, you have a clean heart. Just like God forgives you, he don't remember what you did.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And you got to be willing to extend that same forgiveness.
yeah, exactly, and that's why I always
Exactly.
been big on forgiveness because, like I say, it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? And it's just the church, the church in me. You know what I mean? Per
Right,
se,
right.
that just make me want to just live my life a certain kind of way because of that. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? I know that I want to treat people the way I want to be treated, and
Exactly.
live my life the right way in God's eyes.
Right.
Exactly. It's
Well, some
grace.
people just can't get past that. And as we were talking offline, you were saying that people that I feel like they can't get past the situation is because they have some unfinished stuff inside of them that they need to
Exactly.
do. You
Exactly.
know, they have stuff in them that they need to finish working through or working out. You know what I mean? And they
Exactly.
haven't addressed those issues yet. And
Mm-hmm.
until you can address those issues, I think you won't. You'll just always be out there. You
That's
know.
true. I mean, because like even with me, um, my issue was those that read the book, my issue was my father left out my life when I was 13. So, and I was a daddy's girl. I mean, I was a daddy's girl. My dad married a lady who could not accept me. So much so that she wanted my dad to totally just forget about me. Now, I because of the grace and because of God's grace in me, it allowed me to open my heart to understand as I got older, to understand that he was in a tug of war. You know what I'm saying? He loved this woman. He wanted to be with this woman, but he had this child. He didn't know how to, you know what I'm saying, maintain and handle the two. But then, life with me was going on, and I felt like my life was going on and I was doing good and everything was okay. But every time someone mentioned my father, someone talked about my father, I realized it was a trigger. So I had to realize and address, what is this inside of me, that's this web that's causing me to get so angry and be so bitter and have so much animosity still. So I had to go deep and dig deep, and that's when I reached out and got my own coach and was coaching me to unravel that web, to find out what the root cause of this is. Because
We got a little technical difficulty.
Yeah, we'll have her back in a minute. But my next question to her was going to be,
Stay in line.
my next question to her, she'll be back in a minute. She'll come back online. But my next question to her was going to be, do she think her dad was wrong? I mean, she had, Shakira, we got you back.
I'm back.
My next question to you was, do you think your dad was wrong? Now, you said he had a whole, another family. He was in this tug of war. Do you think he was wrong?
Do I
Because a
think
lot of that happens. I'm asking you this question because a lot of that happens out in today's society, and a man will move on and have kids somewhere else, and they would think, well, a lot of women would say, well, you're neglecting your child, but at the same time, he's got a whole nother family over here that he's doing his thing with, and for whatever reason, mom seemed like, if it ain't her way over there, then it's going to be no way. He can't see him exactly when he wanted. He can't see, on the days that he has free, because he's over here doing a whole nother thing. So I'm asking you, do you think your dad was wrong?
well, I'm gonna say this as a number one. I never saw my mom never bashed my dad. You know what I'm saying? She never was
Right.
bitter and bashed him, and your daddy this, your daddy that, he just left you. My mama never did that. Me in the beginning, that I felt like he was wrong. Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt like he was wrong. I felt like, so much so that his wife passed away a couple of months ago. And I hadn't spoken to my dad in over 30 something years. And his wife passed away. My aunt contacted me and was like, your dad needs you. The flesh, my flesh said I needed him my whole life. Where was this joker at? But the spirit, but the woman I am, the spirit, my spirit man said, no, you go. You go be with him. You go to him. And so I obeyed and I went to be with my dad. And even in that, God was still working with me to understand that, of course I had questions, because even after everything was over, I asked him those questions, like, why did you leave me? What was it? And he couldn't even give me an answer. So I had to really seek God to give me those answers for him. But what I then learned was that I had to extend the same grace, because even though my dad grew up in the house with his siblings, my grandmother had 16 or 18 kids, and by my granddaddy, and she raised all of them in the house together. And the thing is, I had to understand, even though my grandfather was there, he may not have been present in my dad's life, because you can be present but not be present. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you know, just being in the house don't make you a
He
father.
may have been there, but he wasn't there. So that grace allowed me to extend the understanding of why he probably didn't know how to, or was never taught how to handle that situation the way his situation came upon him. Him having one child, he was the only sibling with one child. Well, my aunt had a daughter too, but he was the male sibling with a daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I know sometimes men having daughters, it can be hard. You know what I'm saying? Because to us, you our first love. You know what I'm saying? You are everything. And my daddy is my world. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, I always honored him. No matter, no, despite what he did, despite him walking out my life, and I understand now that's why favor has been upon my life because I've always honored my mother and my father. You know what I mean? I've always respected him, even though he left. He was never there when I graduated. I went to college. I went to law school. I did all this stuff. I got married. I had kids. He wasn't there. None of that. But I still honored him. I still respect him, and I still was able to go through what I went through, extending that grace and forgiving him and rebuilding. Now we're in the stage of rebuilding. So I'm rebuilding and repairing a relationship with him today.
Well, let me ask you this. So you telling me that before you could do that, you had to fix yourself first?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just trying
Absolutely.
to get straight. Yeah. I'm just trying to get straight.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You couldn't have never
Absolutely.
did that without fixing you.
Because see, oftentimes we'll play the victim. We'll constantly play the victim of everything. And see,
Yeah.
you have to stop playing victim and take accountability. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying because I was the child in the situation. Granted, I
Right.
was. I was the
Right.
child in the situation, but I could have kept screaming that to the end. I was the child in the situation. I was the child in the situation. But because I allowed myself and God to use me and show me and guide me to teach me the importance of grace, the importance of forgiveness, and why understanding how God forgive us and understanding how if I say I'm a woman of God, I have to mimic him. I have to be just like him. So I have
Right.
to extend that same grace and mercy to him. You know what I'm saying? And forgive him. The word of God said for us to forgive 70 times 7 in a day. That's
Yeah.
490 times a day. We
Right.
supposed to forgive. You know what I'm saying? So I had to open my heart to understand and not be selfish to why he wasn't there or why he didn't do the things for me that I needed him to do. You know what I'm saying? I had to
Yeah.
that, and that was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But
Well, I got one.
I can actually talk to him today, and I have no bitterness. I have no bitterness, no anger, no nothing. And
Let me
it's
ask
the
you one more
best
question.
feeling.
Let me ask you one more question. I'm just probing because a lot of times people don't understand this stuff. So I'm just trying to go through it, you know, with you. I'm gonna ask you
Mhm.
one more question. All that time, do you think it would have been better if you'd have reached out, say, 10 years ago?
Oh, I
You could have
did.
started that
Well,
process
well,
earlier.
well. I don't.
Oh, let
I
me
just.
tell you. I
I
wrote a
want.
I
I
wrote
want.
a
I want to
go
say
Okay.
something.
go ahead.
I want to say something. Because I'm going because it's eerily similar to my situation. So I relate to everything that you going through in it. And like when Art was saying in the beginning, did you really think it was his fault? I feel like it was his fault because I say this all the time. The easiest thing to do in life is to be sorry. It takes no effort. Like it takes no effort. What he did to you and what happened to me with my father, it took absolutely no effort. So it it
Hmm.
it, it would have took effort for him to to say, look, no matter what man you got going on, this is my daughter. If you don't want to allow me to partake in my daughter life, then I don't want to deal with you. It takes effort for him to say, well, I know my daughter 18, she about the age, it's about time for her to graduate. Let me reach out. Let me develop some kind of relationship. So I kind of disagree when it's kind of put like what she was supposed to do in it. I
Right.
think it was 100% on him.
Yeah, but she wound up doing it anyway. That's my point.
But I
this
think
is
she did. But she said she
I
did
want
it
to
out of grace and
Right,
mercy
right.
of a situation that he went through where he lost his wife,
Right.
and the family members reached out and said, "You know, your dad lost his wife,
And he needs you. Right. But what I'm saying is a lot of times we drag this stuff out. You remember when I said earlier during the show, I say, well, if you just go ahead and go talk to somebody, maybe it would change. I'm saying, do you have to wait 20 years to go see about them, or go just even have a conversation?
But I don't
Because we do that. I'm feeling we do that because we still holding animosity, we still holding a grudge, we still hold because of what they done to us. I mean, but it goes back to, well, who's gonna be the bigger person, me or you? At the end of the day, who's gonna be the bigger person?
Yeah, but I feel like when it comes to a adult and a child, somebody that they gave life to, it shouldn't be for me to reach out to you. And I don't think that I'm bitter. What I'm saying is, I belong to you. You should. One thing about it is, so, and this is a very, very tricky situation because I'm going through it myself.
Right.
I'm going through it with myself. I'm live right now. I'm in the process of the easiest thing to do is to be sorry. Right. And in a way, I kind of feel like I'm being sorry on purpose per se, because I have a son that always been a daddy's boy his whole life. And now it came to a point in his life where he got to a crossroad of, is he going to do the right thing with his life, be responsible, chase his goals, his dreams, and his ambitions, or is he going to do like the knucklehead and run the street, pistol tote, bake, smoke, do everything he ain't got no business doing? I took it upon myself to be the man and speak with his mother and say, you know what? He at this crossroad in his life. Let me go ahead and put him up under my arm and let me carry him on the right way. Whether he want to go this way or not, I feel like as a man, I should take him this way. I did everything in my power to help him. I went, got him, and everything legally.
Right.
As soon as I did that, he put up a thing where he made it impossible for me to help him. Everything, he always respected me. Now he disrespected me. He always cared about how I felt about certain situations. I remember when he was a little boy, when the teacher called me, he see my face, he started crying because he never wanted to let me down. So now he don't care about that no more. It's to the point now where he's doing stuff to put me in jeopardy, to make me do something to him where I lose everything I done worked for. So I had to say, you know what? If that's what you want to do, then I got to let you find that out on your own.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like in me and your situation, we was there with our arms open and they turned around and went the other way.
So I want to tell you this. So what I realized was with my dad, I wasn't dealing with him. I was dealing with a demon. You know what I'm saying? And this goes, spirits are real. You understand? Spirits are really real, and people don't, that's a whole nother topic. But as a woman of God, I realized I was dealing with a demon. You know what I'm saying? Because at one point, my dad wouldn't say 2 words to me. 2 words to me. My cousin was a sergeant and he was killed in the line of duty. We had to go out of town to his services and stuff where they, honored him and stuff. My dad and his wife was there. He acted like he didn't even know me. We was in the same environment. Same place, same thing. He acted like he didn't know me. Then I was, because I didn't understand. But now when I look back, I understand that was a spirit on him. Because now,
at that
event? Yes, went up to him, said stuff to him and everything, and he looked as if, who is this? So that's why I understand. Like now, I completely understand, and I know the difference between dealing with someone in spirit and dealing with a demonic demon in the flesh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's rough. I mean,
because now his presence, I could see, and it took me praying. I constantly kept praying for him. I constantly kept lifting him up. And now I could see life in him. I see life in him. You know what I mean? He called me every day. I see life in him. We talk. He want to go to have lunch. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
see it. So it's, you got to know what you're dealing with from a spiritual aspect. You got to know when you're dealing, even like with you and your son. You attack that. That's a spirit that's trying to come in between y'all relationship.
Mhm.
Because, see, God loves relationships. He intended for us to build and have relationships. That's why he created us uniquely different. So we can take something from each other and learn from each other. So
Right.
when the enemy sees that we are connecting and building and growing and having things, and he coming in, he's an earjacker. He earjacking and taking everything he hear. You think he got people roaming this earth to take from you, to take. So
Yeah.
when he know that you and your son, that's the most important thing to you, your son. So when he know that and he see that bond, guess what he gonna try to do? He gonna come and try to interfere and tear that bond apart. But what you gotta do, man of God, because I know that you are, because we had conversation off this air, you gotta know how to fight that demon 10 toes down. And you call your son, you be there for you, lift your son up in prayer. You keep him lifted up in prayer. And you don't let that enemy think he got control over him. No, you call those things as though they are. That's your son. God gave him to you. You responsible for him. You
Well,
keep him lifted up. You tell him what he not gonna do.
yeah.
And I
Well,
mean, you may not even be talking to him, but when I'm saying when I say you tell him what you gonna do, that means when you in prayer, you tell that demon you can't have him. He mine. He belonged to the Father. So you won't have him. He won't be out here gang banging. He won't be toting no gun, vaping, whatever these young knuckleheads do. He won't do it.
well,
No.
I believe in train up a child in the way it go. When he get older, he won't depart. Now, that to me, that means that don't mean that you're gonna do everything right. But that means once you go through something as a child and find out you hitting your head up against the wall, that you'll learn and turn away from it. About like I did, about like you did, Flo. We don't have to keep going because we know the right way. It was put into us from the beginning, but we just strayed away. But when we got older, we came back to what we knew, what was put in us. That's why we where we at today. So when you train them up from little and put that into them, like Blow said, he put it into him. When he gets out there and whatever he's got to go through to get back, when he comes, he'll realize this way it was in the beginning. Now,
But
some people take
Blow,
a little
but
longer.
but even in that, the man of God still cannot take his hands off of him. You keep praying for your son. You keep praying for your son. No, you
Yeah,
right. You right, Arthur. We do. We have the word of God do say train up a child. We
Yeah.
do come back to what we know,
Oh,
but we still got people praying for that was praying
yeah.
for us,
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know. So
Yeah.
that's why I tell him and encourage him, keep praying for your son.
we
Don't
Yeah.
got a
stop praying
comment.
for
We
him.
got a comment right here. It say it was him. When we talk about spirits and demons, we take away accountability. It be real people trying to hurt you. I guess he's talking about what you said about your father, about he was a demon. He's saying that he don't think it was a demon. He think it was just that's just who he is as a person, and it take away the accountability because you do have real people that will try to hurt you.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
do, but you that is true. However, the enemy uses people.
Yeah.
Just
I
like
agree
God
with you.
used people, the enemy
Right.
used people.
Well, because we say all the time, that wasn't him. Just like Blow say, that wasn't him. When you see somebody that go off the rails, and you've been knowing this person all your life, and this all of a sudden they go off the rails, you're like, man, I couldn't have thought that ain't who that was.
Well, and I think that go back to what I said too. I think really, to be honest with you, I'm just speaking because we talking. I think that's kind of what my son kind of was going through. It's easy to be sorry because if you ain't got to go to school, and you can sit in the house and smoke and vape and have girls over and do whatever you want to do, live like an adult at 16 years old. Why would you want to go somewhere where you know you can't smoke and drink and have people over, and you got to go to school and you got to try and you got to do everything the right way? So I can say I think that was pretty much where it was with him. It takes no effort to be sorry. It don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. I mean, it takes effort to try to go work on your jump shot or to go to football practice or to study and stuff like that. All that stuff take work. But if you don't have to do none of that, then that's where our disconnect came in. You don't want to try. You want to give up on yourself when you at the age and you at the most critical moment of your life that can make or break your future. I mean, my thing with my son is he's an athlete. He can throw a football all the way down the street. He can dunk a basketball. He's a very talented young man. He needs to be doing something with his life other than nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
And it shouldn't be okay with other family members, his other side, to be okay with him going down the wrong path.
Right.
And not saying, hey, when your daddy come, you need to get in the car and go with your daddy. You need to listen to your daddy. Your daddy ain't telling you nothing wrong. You see what I'm saying? That's what he's lacking. You know, what the things that me and you went through, because I keep saying my story just like yours. My mom never bashed my dad. And with that being said, was you got women out here that bash the kids' dad that probably wouldn't do their kids like our fathers did us.
Right.
So that's where the problem, and that's what I'm dealing with. I'm there like this with open arms for my son, and whatever's going on that side or whatever going on in his life, making him stray away from open arms when that's what we wanted.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get.
Right.
And our parents were stopping us from getting.
Right.
But I feel like it's like the opposite. I'm right here with my arms open and said, come on, son, let's go ahead and let's make this thing right. And then you got people on the other side that's got something negative to say about me. You know what I mean? But it's a lot to unpack in that situation.
Yeah.
Siblings and people, daddy's not being there, and this kid having a dad, and this kid not, and you think you better than your siblings, and it's a lot to play into that. So, yeah.
Well, I get it. Yeah, I understand it too. I mean, but you know, it's a lot easier, bro. Like you were saying, it's a lot easier to just say, well, I'm gonna be sorry, or I ain't gonna do nothing about this situation, or whatever. But to me, if you having a problem with somebody or issue or feeling some type of way, I think the best approach is just to approach it. You'll find out a lot of times it's not what you think it is.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of times it's just not the way you think it is. And you all this whole time been had something against somebody, and it ain't been like you thought it was.
Yeah, but it's always in the person that's in the wrong to fix it. If you in the
think
wrong,
so?
I mean, I don't see it no other way. You're right. I should pray for my son and this, that, and the third, but because I've been a victim of it. I went over there, and I don't want to make this about me, but I'm just giving you examples.
Right.
I'm just giving you examples. I said, you know what? Let me be the better person. Hey, son, I'm coming to get you. I come get him. I bring him in here. Okay, you're going to school from over here in the morning. I'm gonna come take you to school. Blah, blah. I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning. He gone. So how much of that should I allow? We're dealing with a situation where you could have let somebody in the house on me or anything. Right. I don't know where you at mentally. When I walked out your room, I did not. The furthest thing from my mind was you not getting registered. None of this stuff I'm saying. And when I come the next morning, you gonna be gone. Yeah. So anything could have happened in that moment. Yeah. So it's on to. I'm the adult, but I have to. You have to show me that you ready.
Right. And I think it goes back to what we said earlier: boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Boundaries.
I can't allow that. I can't allow that. And I think if you went away from your child and you've been going away from your child for 20, 30 years, it's not right to be like, you as the child, why you didn't fix it? You wasn't in the wrong. The man, he should have fixed it from the jump. That's just like when we was talking about the marriage and the in-laws.
Right.
It's up for me to make sure that my wife ain't uncomfortable around my mama.
That's right. That's
Right.
right.
5 minutes from now or 7 years from now.
Right.
Right.
That's for me to fix.
Well, let me ask you this: is it a such thing, especially maybe in your case, Blow, but it's been in my case also? Is it a such thing as tough love? Somebody told me tough love don't work.
So what do you mean when you say tough love?
What do you mean when you say tough love?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I mean when I say tough love. Look, when you get into something, I'm not gonna get you out of it. I mean, as much as I want to get you out of it, I'm not gonna get you out of it. I'm gonna let you do what you got to do until you come to a certain point. And that certain point is when you come to realize that what you're doing is not gonna work. I can't stop you. Blow can't stop his son, no matter what he do. So, it's gonna have to pray, get it in God's hands, and whatever comes around, comes around. I know plenty of guys that tell their sons, now when you go to jail, I'm not coming down there to get you.
I mean,
that's just an example. I'm saying a tough love. I'm not gonna come down there and get you. You're gonna stay down there as much as you want to go get your son. I mean, I'm just saying, you will not do it because that is gonna be a tough situation that you need to learn something from.
But when it comes to tough love, to me, I think the hardest thing is Jay-Z said something one time. He said, Hov went through that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. Everything I've been through in my life, I know what my son is about to encounter in the next few years of his life. Everything that I've already been through, the stuff that you've been through,
right?
Battling addiction, going to jail. These are things that, like you say, and I don't call myself this, but as a man of God, you know what I mean? I see stuff differently. When I went to jail, when I went to jail and the time I was in jail, I saw it to myself as, thank you, God, for putting me in jail. Because one thing about jail is no matter if you're there for a day or you're there for 10 years, you get to get out and try it again. When you get put in that casket, you don't get to try it again.
Right.
It's
That's
over.
it.
So that's one thing about jail. I see jail as a blessing. Anybody, if you lost a loved one in jail, thank God for that. Because you get to get them back. They get to try this again. But when you go to their funeral home, they gone. And that's my thing with my son. You don't always get to go to jail.
Right, exactly.
You don't always get to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is the time of his life where he needs to be excelling in the things that make him who he's supposed to be.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't really think, I think right now what I'm doing is I'm just praying and hoping that he come around before it's too late. But I know that you don't always, just because what he's going through now don't mean he's not going to be in the NBA.
Right.
Don't mean he's not going to be an NFL player. Don't mean that he's not going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or
whatever,
one of the most wealthiest people in the country. Whatever he want to be. It don't mean that. But right now in this moment, as his daddy, I've been through this stuff. So I don't feel necessary for him to have to go through it. That's what burdens me. That's the burden that I live with. I live with the burden of, I know what's coming up next in these next few years. I know what you're about to go through. You shouldn't have to go. I went through this so you don't have to.
Right.
But I can't get that through to him, and that's what's more hurtful. But right now, I am giving the tough love. I am like, okay,
well, you got to.
You want to do it your way, we'll see. But I don't want it to cost him his life.
Right.
Right.
I get that. That's why you're praying. Hey,
right.
Shaquille, I want to ask you another question, because this is one of the things that I guess this gets me the most about kids. And I've heard this so many times. Hey, Joe, we see you out there. I heard this so many times. I want to give my children what I did not have. And the problem I always find with that, giving your kids what you didn't have, is that you try to get it and give it for them. You don't teach them how to go get it.
Yeah.
You want to give it to them, and it don't work like that. I'm just saying, it does not work like that. I can't give you that. I can show you how to get it. Mm-hmm. That's just like the fisherman say, "No, son, I'm not going to give you a fish every day. I'm going to teach you how to fish."
You how to fish, right?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's the old additive that's got to go down. But I see most people, especially a lot of women, I want my child to have what I didn't have. What did your child can have what you didn't have. You just got to teach them how to go get it. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got to teach them how to go get it. You can't just get it and give it to them. See, now, because that creates a problem. If I just gave my child everything, then they'll never learn how to get nothing. Now, what if I have to step back and I can't give them nothing anymore? You know what that leads to? Stealing, all this kind of stuff. You see all these young men that go out here robbing people and stuff like this. Well, they probably their moms tried to give them everything, and now that the mom can't give it anymore, they still want those things and have no idea on how to get it. They have no work ethic. They have nothing. All they have to do is go out here and, well, I'm gonna take it, and that's what happens a lot in life. So this additive about I'm gonna give you what I didn't have, I think that's baloney. I mean, I want you to have it, but I'm gonna show you how to get it. That's the way you get that.
But that's why I feel like that's why I'm in the situation I'm in too, because I feel like that's what I did. The only thing I wanted to do is give my child the dad I never had.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't know, man. It's just
yeah.
It's just a whole crazy situation.
So with me personally, I had more when I became a mother. I had in my mind the life I wanted for my children. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted my kids, like I used to always tell them, you know, a man with a gun is dangerous, but a man with an education is lethal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm big on education. So I've always set my foundation from the beginning with them was to teach them, you know what I'm saying? Teach them morals, values, and principles. You know what I'm saying? Understand that you got to have respect for authority. You know what I'm saying? And that starts in the home. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That starts in the home. My family to this day said my kids are very spoiled, but you know what my kids will tell my family? We earned spoiled.
Exactly.
They earned everything they got. You know what I'm saying? My son is a college graduate. He lives on his own. He has his own transportation. He got a very good job. You know what I'm saying? His foundation was set. You know what I mean? You know, and no, I don't have perfect kids. They are not perfect, by no means perfect. We were just having this conversation yesterday with the oldest one and the 16-year-old, because the 16-year-old has a perspective of like, you know, he going through this thing with, he's just so logical, you know, everything is logic, but it's just, we was trying to get him to understand, but like I had to tell his brother, he just haven't reached that maturity yet, because everything is still like a joke to him, you know, but he hasn't got to that level of maturity yet, and it's okay. We're not gonna rush him to be, you know, because he still like to be a Legos, that's fine. But guess what his mindset is? I'm going to be an architect. I'm going to college to become an architectural engineer. You know what I'm saying? So if he want to build Legos, let him build those Legos right now. You know what I mean? So yes, no, I didn't want my kids growing up the way I grew up. No, I didn't want them having to deal with the hurt and the pain of having an absent father. That's why it was so important. Even with my husband, I told him, you're not going to be a part-time daddy. You're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be a full-time response, whether we together or not. Our agreements and disagreements do not have anything to do with these boys, because these boys did not ask to come here. You know what I mean? So I truly believe in setting the foundation. Once you set your foundation, yes, tough love is necessary. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's necessary, you know, because now the word of God says, your tree is determined by the fruit you bear.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I look at my fruit, I'm able to see my fruit. And I see the goodness of my fruit.
Right.
And that in turn come from my tough love. We was talking about this yesterday. My oldest son said, Mom, I got 5 whoopings in my whole life. And he's 24 years old now. He said, he got a speeding ticket about 2 years ago. He told the officer, I would rather you take me with you than me going to my mama and tell her I got this ticket.
Well, you know, that's what's up. And I'm big on everything being a teachable moment.
Yes.
You know, especially
I think you learn something new every day.
Yeah, with kids.
And it's okay to be a student.
Yeah, it's a teachable moment. I'm going to teach you something within what just happened today. What you did today, I need to teach you something from it. Everything, just to go down and wash a dish, it's a teachable moment in that. You know, to pick up a piece of paper that fell on the floor. I can use that as a teachable moment to a child because all children I feel is different, but I feel like
Yes.
you can reach every one of them. It's just you have to understand where it's at to reach them. You know, it ain't gonna work on two children just alike. If you raise
No.
them up in the household and you try to raise them identical, it ain't gonna never, they ain't gonna be right. One, it takes one for this one, it takes something for this one, and something different for that one. And you, as a parent, I feel like had to try to figure that out. And it's a hard road.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. Because mine are like night and day.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
night and day.
Usually usually they are, but it takes something different from the other one. And that's it. And you have to recognize that and spot that and look at it and, figure it out. And I
Yeah.
think it's all about figuring it out because it's always a light bulb moment for everybody, I think. Me and Blow had a
Hmm.
light bulb moment. I had a light bulb. It was during COVID. We had light bulb moments. You know what I'm saying? To have to figure this stuff out.
For
So
me, I love the aha moments. I love the light bulb moments because it's
yeah,
like, wow. Now, how do I take this? And I love teachable moments.
yeah,
I think
absolutely,
if you learn to appreciate teachable moments, it'll take you a long way.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, getting on back a little bit to this relationship stuff. I believe that relationships can be dealt with, but like you said from the beginning, you have to be able to conversate and have a conversation. And I wish that you would have been able to have a conversation with your dad long time ago. I mean, if he
Well, I
won't
did.
respond,
Well,
I
I didn't
understand.
have. When we going back to that, I didn't have a conversation. But what I did do, I wrote him a letter. Right, I wrote a letter. And in my letter, it was a long letter too. I wrote this letter, and I pretty much went through my whole life just telling him, my accomplishments, things he missed out on, stuff I went through, things that happened to me. I went through and tell him, but the most important thing in that letter, after I wrote the letter, was what I said at the end. And what I said at the end was, I forgive you, not for you, but for me, so that I can move on with my life. And I mailed him that letter. I didn't know if he would get it. I didn't know if his wife would get it and tear it up and read it. I didn't know. But at that point in my life, and I was 30 years old when I wrote that letter. And I wrote that letter to him and I mailed the letter to him. And like I said, I didn't know if he would get it, if he would read it or what. And sent the letter to him. About 2 weeks later, I get a call from my mom telling me that my dad wants to see me. Now, he wanted me to meet him at my mom's house. I went to my mom's house. We sat in the living room for 45 minutes and he didn't know what to say to me. So
Right.
at that point, I said my exact words was, um, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. I said what I said in my letter, and I'm no longer carrying this burden because it's too heavy. And I'm not
Right.
going to be a prison in my own life anymore, a prisoner in my own life anymore. And I
Right.
left, and I didn't talk to him anymore. I didn't talk to him anymore until a couple of months ago when his wife passed away, because I was at the point that I felt I was doing all the reaching and trying and pulling, and you know what I'm saying, and it was no longer, I couldn't carry that burden no more. I was done. So at that point, I knew then that me tapping into my forgiveness and truly, you know, I was out because I was able to truly let it go at that point.
Yeah.
Now, to show that I really did forgive him was the test that God gave me when she passed away for me to go and be with him,
Right.
because so that was truly a test for me to
Yeah.
see, can you, can have you really forgave this man the way you say you forgave this man?
Right.
That was my test.
Right.
And I had to go, even though I was convicted at first, because I was like, no, no, now I needed you all my life
Yeah. And you wasn't there.
and you wasn't there.
Right. I get it.
But I still went. because that showed the grace portion. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That showed the grace. That showed the true forgiveness that I truly did. That showed that I meant what I said when I said I forgave you.
Right.
And I no longer had that bitterness anymore. So I was able to go.
Right. Okay. We talked about a lot today.
Indeed.
we went through a lot, man. We went through the in-law situation. We went through the wife and the husband. Nobody comes in between. We even had a little conflict about who eats first.
Yeah.
You know, some people see that different. I see. Some people feel like that the kids ought to eat first. Some feel like the husband ought to eat first. You know, but it's definitely an order to everything. Everything has to be done in order. It has to be an order. We never came to the fact that who gets the last call. I mean, we never come to that. And you brought it out as we have to compromise on that.
Well, I think in a relationship, any relationship, you got to give and take. You
Right.
can't always get the last word.
Right.
So you gotta, you gotta give and take.
Right. Well, that's true. I guess if we learn to do that, then we learn good things and big things.
That is true.
There again, we got the author on for everybody that came in late. She wrote this book, The Bridge, Grace Beyond Abandonment. It's a good book. She signed it. We're going to give it to one of y'all tonight. Whoever puts their address up, we'll get it out and throw it in the
The
comments.
book,
Or you
I
can
will
put
say
it-
this, the book is a series. So I am currently working on book 2. So it's gonna be another part to that.
Okay.
But yeah, it is available on Amazon as well. So I appreciate you guys.
Right. That's Shakia N. Hicks, and she's a relationship coach. It's been a pleasure for us tonight, being able to dig in with her. Y'all know what to do. Make sure you like and share the page and subscribe. Be sure you subscribe to the channels. That's what get us on up there, subscriptions. So subscribe to the page. We come here every week. We do this. We bring y'all everything. We bring you politics. We bring you stuff like this, which we think is important. When we see an important topic like this and we want to get it out, that's what we do. We bring it out.
You already know.
Next week, we'll be back to our normal show and doing what we do. But we want to thank everybody for joining in. It's one thing for certain.
It's 2 things for sure.
We going to tell the truth.
Because it's time.
It's time to tell the truth, and the truth hurts. Peace out.
Yes.
Thank you again for being in.
Thank
Shakia.
you.
All right. Y'all have